Tonight, we have a Target 8 alert about lead-based paint and why it's still poisoning children in some of Grand Rapids' oldest neighborhoods.
A homeowner tipped us off, concerned about painters who fail to take critical safety precautions when handling lead paint.
Target 8 investigator Susan Samples tracked down the business responsible for a poison paint job in Grand Rapids' Easttown neighborhood.
He's actually the baby.
Christy Simon's baby
This is Diesel.
isn't as susceptible to lead poisoning as a toddler would be.
He's 6 years old.
But Simon still worries about the paint chips littering her shared driveway on Norwood Street, shrapnel from the paint job next door.
When they first started about a week ago, we asked them right on day one, are you going to clean this up? Because the contractor. Are you going to clean this up? Are you going to sweep tonight? And they're like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Finally fed up, Simon turned to Target 8.
I mean, this is a turn-of-the-century house.
And we brought in Paul Hahn of the Healthy Homes Coalition
And if it turns red, we've got lead-based paint.
to test the paint for lead, which can cause brain damage when ingested by children.
This one's turning really red. This paint has high lead content. So when you degrade this into chips and into the dust, it creates basically a toxic waste hazard for kids.
And that's why the feds, since 2010, have required painters to use tarps to cover and contain lead-based paint while they scrape.
What's happened here, whether there's kids in your house or their house or not, they've left kind of a legacy of hazardous material here.
The danger is real. Just a few blocks from Norwood Street, the 49507 zip code has one of the state's highest percentages of kids with elevated lead levels, 15%. Hahn says unsafe painting and home renovations are the main culprits.
I hope it can be cleaned up.
My name's Susan. I'm from Wood TV. Christy Simon's neighbor told me the painters promised her they'd be back to clean up.
So now, today, there's nobody here to paint. We have nobody to call.
Fortunately, Simon's husband snapped a quick picture of the logo on the painter's truck, Acevedo Preservation and Property Management. My name's Susan Samples. I'm a Target 8 investigator. I got a hold of Robert Acevedo Jr., who told me his business doesn't usually take paint jobs. In fact, this is a first.
We're not painters, so I didn't know any of these rules and regulations. We're helping out a friend that needed some, her home painted.
Acevedo is hardly the only offender. Looks like you got some paint chips going on here. We came across a couple guys painting a house just around the corner. They didn't know if the paint they were scraping had lead in it or not. So if you don't know for sure if there's lead in there, shouldn't you be containing it?
Yes.
So you know that you should be containing that lead that's in the paint?
Yeah.
But they weren't bothering to do it. Why aren't you following federal law? No answer to that question. Are you guys with Acevedo? No answers either from the crew that returned to that paint job on Norwood Street. Are you guys working for Acevedo? Simon was just glad they tried to make it right by cleaning up their mess. Just trying to get a few pictures of you guys cleaning it up and doing the right thing. I'm Target 8 investigator Susan Samples.
Now, if you spot painters or remodelers mishandling lead-based paint, you can report it to the EPA.
Last year, the agency took action against 75 painting companies across the country for violating those rules. We have a link to the complaint, and you can get that form inside of our story over at woodtv.com.